Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. If you want to throw something in the tip jar or make a donation, that information is below in the description box. And also, please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. In addition to being a YouTube content creator, I am also a writer, working on a book, and I've talked about that to some degree already here on this channel, and there will be more content coming in the future. Well, I just wanted to say a few words about the Wonder Years reboot. For those of you subscribed to this channel, and those listening for the first time, hopefully you do subscribe. I created a video looking back at the original series because that was one of the it was one of my favorite series, one of my favorite television series growing up in the 80s. And I could relate to the Kevin Arnold character in that we were, the similar age. We were a similar age, albeit he lived in the suburbs and I lived on the east side of Buffalo. And I also did a live stream, I believe, or maybe it was a pre-record on the Reboot, starring Elisha. I think it's Elisha Williams. With the black cast. It's narrated by Don Cheadle, and I think I was a little bit skeptical in that pre-record because I am a bit of a traditionalist, and I kind of feel like if things weren't broken, don't fix them, and if they were fine the way they were, just leave them. And I wondered if there needed to be a reboot of the Wonder Years, because the original series was, in my opinion, it was classic. It was that perfect Mona Lisa that didn't need to be tampered with in any way. So I watched the entire Reboot, and it turns out that Fred Savage was highly involved with the Reboot, and I enjoyed it. You follow Dean. His family, his best friend Corey, his young love Kisa, Coach Long, their Jewish friend Brad. You meet the grandparents on both sides. Dean has numerous growing pains growing up, and his brother Bruce goes away to Vietnam, which was similar to the original series. Unlike in the original series, Brian Cooper dies in the beginning, and you know that throughout all the seasons. Well, in this series, Bruce is away in the war. He comes home. He elects to go back, and then at the end, he comes home. I think my prediction was that he was going to die just like Brian Cooper. What I want to say, and I want to keep this short, is that I like what they did at the end. And now I have no skepticism of this reboot. I think they can take it and go in whichever direction they see fit to go with it. I think in the beginning I was wondering, okay, what are they going to try to do that's different than the previous, the original version? But I think that after what they did, and I'm going to talk about that next, I think they could pretty much go ahead and do whatever they want to do now. It was the second to last episode. Bruce had come home, and he, suffered an injury in the war and was trying to reassimilate back into civilian life. At the end of the episode, he talks about his comrade, his fellow soldier, Brian, who did not make it home, and he feels that emotional tug from forming a brotherhood with Brian and the other guys in his platoon, and he's lamenting the fact that the Brian and some of the other guys didn't make it home, and he gives a very vivid recollection of how Brian died. Now, at the end, there's a scene where Bruce and Dean are in their room, and Bruce is sending Brian's belongings, I believe, back to the family. And it turns out the family is the Coopers. And Bruce shares with Dean, he carried this picture of him and his sister, and he kept it close to him, and he looked at it every day. Dean remarks, "Oh, his sister was very pretty." And he said, "Yeah, that's his younger sister, Gwendolyn. They called her Winnie." I was distracted by my phone, as I often am, watching the TV. And then when I heard those words, Brian had a sister named Winnie, I looked up, and sure enough, it was Brian Cooper and Winnie Cooper. So the Brian that Bruce was talking about turned out to be Brian Cooper from the original series, who died, who sadly died in the first episode. So we never got to know Brian Cooper. So they linked this reboot to the old series. Now they can't. Now Danica McKellar and Fred Savage, they're grown now, so there's no way that Dean could ever meet them. But they were able to, in a storytelling way, in a literary way, in a world building way, they were able to merge the two stories. So in my mind, that kind of completes things. That says, okay, well, we're doing this reboot. We're not completely disregarding the previous or the original telling of the story, but these two stories are existing in the same world. And I thought that was a good way to go. Much the same way I thought that what Marvel did was brilliant in creating the multiverse with the three Spider-Mans. I thought that was a good way to explain everything, and in a logical way allow everything to exist. So, and it was very touching too, to see that at the end of that episode, and just to know that, okay, Bruce knew Brian Cooper. If you never watched the original series, that probably wouldn't have made much sense to you, or probably wouldn't have had much significance. But for me, having watched the original series, that was powerful. So let's see what happens with the rest of this Wonder Years reboot and its cast. Will we watch Dean grow all the way up, and Kisa and Corey and the rest of the gang, or will this be short-lived? I don't know. Let's see. Now, one other thing I thought was interesting before I end this is that Yvonne Orji, who played Molly in Insecure, Issa's best friend, she made a cameo in this episode where Bruce acknowledged that he knew Brian Cooper in Vietnam and that they were friends. She played a love interest for Bruce who was a little bit older and already had a child. So they kind of touched upon that a little bit. I think that back in those days, I think if this was the Vietnam era, that would have been the 1960s. That wasn't commonplace, and parents felt some kind of way about that. So they addressed that in that episode. And I thought that was interesting that they would go there, because maybe they're trying to say that that's a part of the Black experience in the United States, at least in that era, going forward. My previous two videos on the original Wonder Years series and this reboot will be in the description box below. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to throw something in the tip jar, that information is below in the description box. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.